United Democratic Movement leader Bantu Holomisa will this morning unveil his party's manifesto in Midrand. The May 29th election will be the sixth poll that the UDM is taking part in. Our reporter Junior Khumalo is at the Gallagher Convention Centre where the manifesto launch is taking place and joins us now. Junior, very good morning to you. I see the UDM is hoping the upcoming elections will mark a return to the party's good fortune. What's happening there as we speak?
A very good morning to you, Mpo, and to our viewers. Yes, the United Democratic Movement today is actually hosting its manifesto at the Gallagher Estate. The manifesto launch comes after the ANC, the DA, EFF have all hosted their manifestos over the past 3 weekends. So now it's the turn of the UDM. The UDM has been in the political landscape and in the political discourse for about 27 years. The party was formed in 1997 and it contested its first elections in 1999, where it managed to get about 14 seats in the National Assembly. But since then, the party has been on an electoral decline. In the 4 next elections that it contested in, it has received less seats than the 14 seats that it grossed in its initial elections campaign. We know now that they only have like 2 seats in Parliament, but they are hosting their manifesto, trying to convince South Africans to basically vote for them and trying to tell them why they should vote for them. But we do have the UDM secretary with us today. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today. What is the UDM going to say to South Africans for them to vote for the UDM in the upcoming elections?
Thank you very much for having us, and good morning to the viewers at home. What we are going to tell South Africans is what South Africans have told us over the past year, because we've went across the country in the past year and in the first quarter of this year, whereby we've listened to our people giving us not just complaints. Something that is very unique about South Africans is that they have solutions to their problems. So it was easy to consult with them, to saying that what is it that you want us to do and how do you want us to do. We documented all of that in this manifesto. South Africans are going to find their voices in the manifesto of the UDM, and today the President is going to make the commitment on behalf of all the members of the UDM to saying that this is our commitment when we get into government. Whatever that we have put into this document, having been embraced by all of you, is what we are going to do.
In the 2019 manifesto by the UDM, when it comes to the economy, the UDM had promised a pro-poor economic policy, but also it had left it to South Africans, because the UDM had said that it was going to conduct an economic summit and speak to South Africans and try and figure out what they want. Are we going to see more of the same, where the UDM says the solutions are going to come from South Africans and not from the party?
Remember that when we are going around, right, we do not meet and or get, everybody else into the room due to lack of resources. But what we have found is an expression that we can put into there. We are continuing with that message because we believe that other political parties have got their own, economic, thoughts and so on. The private sector, other stakeholders, churches and so on. Everybody is interested in putting up an economic policy that is going to work for South Africans. But we remain, consistent in saying it needs to be a pro-poor economic policy that we're going to put on, so that it works for the poor who are the marginalized. And most of it is the 60 million plus, which is, the black South Africans who are not actively in the economy. Right now, what we see is that we have white industrialists. All of us who are lining for jobs, going into this smaller population, which carries the burden and the shoulders of our economy. But what we are saying right now is that we need to build also the black industrialists, so that we do not have an economy which is unequal. We have an inclusive economy whereby this side that is working, also this side is working, and they converge in the middle. But that convergence will have to happen at that economic endeavor, whereby we come up with different ideas, we pull together and put them in the same plate, and then we find what is going to work for South Africans, which they are going to work on it as well. Not just work for them, but they have to work it as well.
In terms of these upcoming elections, the assumption is that there's going to be coalitions, whether at provincial level or at national level. The UDM has not announced who it will go into coalition with. Has that been discussed? Is that going to be announced today during the manifesto launch?
We are not going to announce that, unfortunately. However, the discussions that we have internally and the discussions we've been having with South Africans, because this topic and this question has been put up into us in everywhere we go, in the workshops that we've conducted in the 9 provinces. This question, who are you going to go with into coalitions? And we have said that let the results, decide. Let the South Africans decide who they want to go into coalition. Then, as a UDM, we are flexible. We'll speak with anyone. But what we are not going to do is to join a multi-party charter that is going to exclude certain political parties because of their own self-reasons or opinions about them, and declaring others as enemy number ones. We do not have an enemy. We are all South Africans. We want South Africa to work. What we need to do when we go into coalitions is to come together, compromise our silly, demands. Let us not focus on positions, but let us focus on basic services and working in the economy that is going to work for all South Africans, because we need South Africans who have integrity, South Africans who are dignified, and South Africans who are prosperous. And that, I think, it cuts across all political parties. But we need to put our egos down. That's a message that we're going to be sending to whoever comes and approaches the UDM to say, you've got so and so much seats, we need to come into government with you, and we say, what about so and so? In fact, the president in one of his interviews had said that if we win, or when we win the elections as a UDM, instead of just having a cabinet of only UDM ministers, we are going to go to other political parties to say so and so has the expertise, the experience in finance, everything, come and be the Minister of Finance. So and so in health and whatnot forth, you are qualified, you are experienced, come. You understand? In ESCOM, we need an engineer as a minister who understands what's going to happen, so that we are able to get rid of load shedding. That is a government that we're going to put on, a government of unity. That was done by the likes of our democratic father, which is Nelson Mandela, when he set up a government of unity. If we had continued in that trajectory, maybe all of these things today, even coalitions, may not be a thing. But we are here right now. We are saying when we win, all these other political parties are going to go in. Not that they should join the UDM, no. They remain in their DA, ANC, whatever. But we need the expertise, we need the experience, and when people are going to work the ground.
Thank you so much. That is the UDM Secretary, Uyonga Mazingebe, was just telling us about what the UDM is going to basically deliver today when it delivers its manifesto. He says his party is not going to commit to any coalition before the elections. He says only after the election results are out will the UDM then decide on which partner to go into coalition with. Mpo.